welcome back to Cityline. With me, I have someone who I chase around the social media world. I'm always looking to see what this person is up to in terms of what they do for our community, the people they hang out with. And I got to tell you, this person is right in the pocket in the sense of doing what they need to do in order to leave a legacy. I'm talking about Tim Jumper. Tim Jumper is the manager of community engagement and basically helping out with this eviction resolution pilot program for our wonderful organization called Sound Outreach. Tim, welcome to Cityline.
It's so good to see you, Amanda. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you here. I've been waiting for the day that you were in my Zoom screen. So it has finally happened. So Tim, tell us about Sound Outreach. What does it do? What is it about? And what do you do for them?
Sure, absolutely. Well, my name's Tim Jumper. I'm the manager of community engagement at Sound Outreach. And if you don't know a lot about Sound Outreach, it's a small nonprofit. It's located in the Hilltop area of Tacoma. And our mission is really to help low-income Pierce County residents. We help them to build financial stability through financial counseling, employment coaching, and other wraparound services. And really, whenever I think of Sound Outreach, I just think about four simple words, and those are financial stability and economic mobility. So our work is really to try and move as many people as possible out of poverty and into a more stable space. We've got a great team. We're doing some really good work, and our services are always free to the public.
That is so impressive. I mean, the whole time you're talking, all I can see is this huge, spaceship like in the Matrix, and you guys trying to get this off the ground because it's big. When you say financial stability and also financial mobility, I mean, that covers almost everybody here in Pierce County. So as we look at that and we look at, either buying a house or even staying in a house, let's talk about right now. We're talking about rent. We're talking about people right now who cannot afford to pay their rent. And that just demolishes any kind of financial stability that one could ever hope for. So what kind of work does Sound Outreach do, Tim, in terms of helping those people not lose their homes? Because we have a huge unhoused population and pandemic here in the city of Tacoma.
Yeah, absolutely. What we're really doing is our financial counselors, if anybody knows Sound Outreach, financial counseling is really what we do best. But now we've developed relationships to get referrals from all the county's rental assistance providers. So once we make those connections, we're building that one-on-one client coach relationship to help people avoid eviction. So people work with our counselors to create household budgets. They work on developing a plan for their savings, improving their credit scores, and all kinds of just general basic financial wellness. You name it, we can usually help. And our goal is to just make people feel less vulnerable and, as secure about their financial futures as possible, especially as it relates to housing.
All those items that you listed off, my brain kept thinking those can be such barriers. Oh, yeah. I mean, even the fact that you and I are interviewing right now, we had to have laptops. We had to have some kind of internet service to do this. And those barriers of just those simple things, food, water, shelter, since the pandemic, those things have become items that all of us have to come together and say, how are we helping our most vulnerable members in the community not fall between the cracks? You being Sound Outreach, but also you, Tim Jumper, have great partners with groups like Tacoma Pro Bono and the Center for Dialogue and Resolution. How do you partner with them? What does that look like?
Yeah, sure. Great question. Well, as Together we create an ecosystem of organizations that address renters needs kind of at every stage of the game. So when we get referrals, we find out, if somebody maybe needs to mediate an agreement with their landlord. If that's the case, we refer them to the Center for Dialogue and Resolution. If we get referrals from people who need a better understanding of their rights or how to navigate eviction, we'll connect them to Tacoma Pro Bono. We've really learned how to work together as a network of community partners to really help the people in need. And I'm no stranger to collaboration. Like you say, we're around town all the time. It's part of Sound Outreach's model, to connect people to services that we don't necessarily provide. And that's part of the work that we do, like we were talking about with the Pierce County Community Engagement Task Force. But we really kind of just pool all of our resources together and have really learned how to work collectively really well.
So many times I know that your clients end up um, uh, in your uh, in sound outreach, either virtually or if you can see people in person, and they don't know where to start. They just know that they need help, be it utilities, be it staying in their apartment, or be it I just don't understand even how to file my taxes. Currently, we are looking at Pierce County and the rental assistance that seems to be across everybody's lips, Tim. We are now in the third year of the COVID pandemic. And so, how are you working with Pierce County and that rental assistance? That, at one point, the portal was closed, and we have just found out that it's open. But how do you help people understand how to navigate that?
Yeah, I mean those are all great questions. It's we're doing the same thing. We used to try to avoid, as an organization, working with individuals in severe crisis, because we know it's hard to focus on, improving your credit score or writing a resume when you don't exactly know where you're going to lay your head that night, right? So we, we've definitely had to we've always been an organization that helps people kind of move from stability to self-sufficiency, but now we've definitely had to move back, to a spot where we're helping all those individuals in need, with so many people, like you said, who are in need of different services these days. So we've pivoted back. We're helping in those individuals in crisis as well. And so now really anybody in need of us, these type of services can benefit, from what we do.
When I think about, Tim, people who are uh, are behind on their rent, probably for the first time in their life, and they have hopes that this will be a one-time occurrence, but they also know that they were never taught financial stability. They don't know about just what they should know to make money work for them.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do when somebody needs that kind of help? What does Sound Outreach do for them?
Yeah, well, it's a really simple process. All they need to do is get in touch with us, and we'll connect them to one of our financial counselors. We've also got other programs that I mentioned, Center for Strong Families. That's a program that's all about integrated service delivery, right? So you're not only receiving that financial counseling, but you're also getting the employment coaching and the other, income support programs that are helping people to meet their needs. But primarily, with this program, as it relates to rental assistance, we're just connecting individuals to financial counselors. And I don't know everything about that process. I know enough to be dangerous, but I connect you to our financial counselors, and they'll always get you the information that you need to answer all your questions, to get you up on your feet. Different people need different things, and we customize the services that these individuals might need. So everybody is unique, everybody's an individual, and everybody's at a different stage with different needs. But anytime you contact Sound Outreach, we'll put you in touch with the right person, whether it's us or whether it's another organization, just to get you the resources that you need in order to be successful.
Outstanding. So we've been talking about people being behind on rent or utilities. And sometimes, in your experience, Tim, it's both. It's rent and utilities. And it gets down to I have $200. How do I feed my family? And something's got to give here. What can sound outreach do for somebody who, and also doesn't have a phone and doesn't have a laptop? So if that was me and I walked into your office, what would happen?
Yeah, well, I think the key is, like you said, we're trying to keep people in their homes, and if you reach out early enough, our coaches can help connect you to resources like utility assistance that you mentioned, and this kind of help, it frees up your dollars so you can reallocate them back towards that rent or back towards that back rent. So and for those individuals who already can't avoid being displaced, we help you get your financial bottom line healthy enough, to the point where you are ready to get back into the housing market. Your information and your credit score has been rehabilitated to the point where you're an attractive candidate for a landlord or another rental agreement.
Absolutely. Kim, we have seen in this pandemic many provider pop-ups where a lot of people have entered the game because we needed it. And so sometimes it can be a struggle for agencies to help folks struggling with rent when there are too many options, when it is, I don't know how to access the rental portal and I'm not quite sure what Tacoma Pro Bono is. How do you combat that when you have too many resources and it just really dilutes your ability to get an answer to your problem?
Hmm. Can you restate that question a little bit? I'm thinking when I hear you say, too many resources, that's a great problem to have, right? So we definitely have preferred community partners who, we understand and we complement each other, on the services that we provide. But I'm trying to understand specifically. Can you rephrase that?
You just answered it so beautifully. And wow, do you have great redirecting skills, mister? You could sit in my seat and do what you did. And that's just it. So what I heard you say was that basically, you have so many great resources and understand what providers do that I'm hearing that you could provide a map of you go here for this, and this is what to expect when you walk through their doors. Because sound outreach is like a warm hug, but we are running at really fast paced right now. And not all providing agencies have a chance to give that warm hug. But to know that ahead of time from your founding agency is such a gift that you give to people.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it is like a warm handoff is everything, right? Some information or a resource or a referral coming from a trusted community partner. Nothing beats that.
Absolutely. So let's flash forward when all of this is said and done, and people are staying in their homes, and the landlord and the tenant are getting along, and all of the utilities are staying on, and everything is up to date. Then, what services would you recommend for somebody in terms of sound outreach?
Hmm. Wow. I think, like I said, financial counseling is never a bad idea. It is, it's the best way to go. Whether you're making, $10,000 a year or whether you're making 50, 60, $80,000 a year. All we want to do with those programs is to get you in, and it's a long-term data rich relationship based program. So we don't just get you in and like go through a transactional process. We really try to keep you on board for up to 3 years, and track the data, whether it's about wage progression, whether it's about advancements through your work, whether it's about improvements in your credit score. I want everybody to be on the lookout for our impact report that's coming out in a couple of days. But we talk about, the data that we've collected to show the community, kind of how well we're doing in a lot of those areas that we talk about. But so financial counseling on its own, our silver financial our silver financial counseling program is great right now. It works with seniors. And like I said, Center for Strong Families, our Sheba program. We've got a new program called Money Navigator for employees. So we're really doing a lot of exciting things at Sound Outreach, and it's definitely worth looking into.
Tim, thank you so much for being here today and for all that you do for our community, my dear. And I want you back on the show sooner than later. Deal?
You got my word. Very good to see you, Amanda. Thanks so much for having me.
My pleasure. Well, that wraps up another great segment of Cityline. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be in your home. We've given you some really great things to think about in this past hour. So go out there, be a part of the tapestry, and above all, pay it forward. And when you come back, we'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
Tacoma's where you'll stay. Oh, you're from Seattle. Oh, you're from LA. Oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay. Yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. From the fires to the loam. Tacoma, that's my home. Yeah, Tacoma, that's my home.